It's happening now. Report shows shortage will make silver explode. This is exactly what every product needs, a shortage. That's what makes the price skyrocket. In this video, the Silver Institute just released a report based upon first quarter data. I'm going to break this down for you and show you how silver is set to skyrocket. The report starts by saying, for yet another year and the third in a row now, silver demand massively exceeded supply in 2023. Listen closely to that. Silver demand massively exceeded supply in 2023. While the global market deficit fell by 30% from year to year, from last year's likely all-time high at 184 million ounces, it was still one of the largest figures on record. Crucially, last year's deficit coincided with a year in which we experienced sharp declines in bar and coin investment. That meant global silver offtake fell overall year on year. The silver market's deficit conditions have so far been resilient to pressures from the weaker price elasticity just from demand. Now, this is crucial as we are waiting for silver to bump up to the $30 range. And this data is showing us that, yes, we're absolutely set to go. This is silver's moment. This is exactly what you want. You want to see silver, first of all, breaking the rule of its history. And the rule of silver is always that silver and gold perform opposite to what the dollar and treasuries, how they perform. Typically, if the dollar is strong, if treasuries investments are strong, if yields are strong, then silver and gold have low spot prices. But that's not what's happening. Right now, today, we're seeing treasury yields high. The dollar is strong. It's at a great, almost 2 weeks now. The dollar showing strength. But silver is also showing strength. Gold is also showing strength. This is so bizarre. So you combine this with this shortage that we have for silver, and this is exactly what we as silver stackers, those of us who stack this silver and are waiting for the price to really show its strength. This is exactly what we want to hear. Let's keep going. The report says underpinning silver's fundamentals is robust demand from industrial applications. And we see this with electric vehicles. Actually, I'm going to get to this in a minute because we have some important news that just came out about silver and electric vehicles. But this article says that underpinning silver's fundamentals is robust demand from industrial applications. These continued to push higher last year, reaching a new all-time record, fueled by remarkable rise in solar demand and in spite of stagnation in some other sectors. Sluggish silver supply, owing to the slight decline in global mine production, was another factor contributing to silver's deficit conditions last year. Importantly, we remain confident, this is the author writing, we remain confident that such deficit conditions will remain in place for the foreseeable future. And when I show you the numbers that are presented in this report, that makes absolute sense that this is going to continue. And it's not the type of thing that is just, there was kind of a low year, but now we're going to go back to demand meeting supply. That's not at all what is expected to be seen. This right here, these numbers are listed under above ground silver stocks. And this is exactly what we want to look for when we're trying to figure out where the spot price is going for silver. The heading is above ground silver stocks. And it says global silver supplies once again fell short of demand last year. While the market deficit fell by 30% to 184 million ounces, it was still one of the largest on record and amounted to a sizable 15% of global demand. 15%. That's a chunk. Over the past 3 years of deficits, above ground silver bullion inventories have declined by a cumulative 543 million ounces. And many people believe that that number, that 543 million ounces, is conservative. Many people feel that the number is way larger than that, closer to, I've heard 800 million ounces. I've heard much larger numbers. But this is the World Silver Survey put out by the Silver Institute, and they're saying 543 million ounces. Equivalent, and that is equivalent, according to this report, it's equivalent to nearly 2/3 of average annual silver mine production in recent years. That is a lot, and that absolutely impacts our silver price. Here's another part happening today that's impacting our silver price. This is from Reuters, and this says GM and Ford count on gas-powered trucks as EV growth slows. Now, this is remarkable because we know that there's demand for electric vehicles, and people have been waiting. Even if Honda just came out recently with their electric vehicle, and people were waiting and waiting for months and months for this vehicle to come out. So GM and Ford should be in the same boat. They should be on the same situation. Yet this headline tells us GM and Ford count on gas-powered trucks as EV growth slows. As we know, electric vehicles depend on silver, and as demand for that silver grows in this industry, that also impacts our spot price. This article says U.S. automakers General Motors and Ford face a challenge in common when they report first quarter results next week, explaining to investors where profit growth will come in months ahead as EV growth slows. The article says the slowdown in global electric vehicle demand, intensifying competition from Chinese automakers, and high U.S. borrowing costs have forced the U.S. automakers to delay investments and ratchet down costs over the past 12 months. Now, those high U.S. borrowing costs are not going anywhere because we have seen just today, we've heard from the Fed that we better get used to these rates because there aren't going to be any cuts the rest of this year. Maybe we'll get one in December if we cross our fingers. Maybe we'll get one. So those high borrowing costs are not going anywhere. And as regional banks continue to struggle, they're going to remain tight, and they're not going to be offering loans the way they could if their situation was given some support. Remember that the rug has been pulled out from those regional banks as of about 5 weeks ago. So those high costs are going to continue. And China is recently doing battle with the U.S. over their electric vehicle game. China's plan was to set up factories on our border in Mexico for electric vehicles and then have an easy route to just pump out their electric vehicles across our border and sell electric vehicles for a lower price to waiting Americans who are eager to get these electric vehicles. The U.S. recently said, no, that's not going to happen. And they didn't say it directly to China. They said it to the Mexican government and had Mexico tell China, no, beat it. You're not going to be able to do that. So that's, again, another tension that is being put in place between the U.S. and China. But it's also impacting silver because China is in need of silver for these electric vehicles. Same with China and solar panels. They're in need for silver for those solar panels, and that's not going to go away. Yes, China has been stockpiling gold, and they continue to be one of the leaders of countries that are stockpiling gold. Well, they're just as eager to get silver too. So as we hear throughout all forms of media, we've been hearing about China stockpiling gold. We're going to be hearing about China and silver the same way because they need that silver for their industry, and they're going to be just as aggressive doing it. Also, we are silver stackers here in the U.S. By the way, if you're enjoying this content, please hit like, hit subscribe. It really means a lot. It helps get this information out there. We have silver stackers in our community here in the U.S. China is the same. China has a good-sized population of people not only interested in the semi-numismatic coins that are produced for their market, but they're also people interested in just stacking silver, same way as we are here in the U.S. So as this data rolls out and we see information like this from the Silver Institute, seeing that silver is in serious demand, that demand is only going to increase, and there's a blatant for years now, there's been a shortage of silver, and this data shows us what I just presented shows us that shortage is continuing, and it's expected to continue. No matter how rosy of a picture mining companies like to paint this. Oh, we got this much silver in the ground, we just got to pull it up. Come invest in our mining company. No matter how many times we hear that, the reality is that the silver, the above ground silver that we can actually count and look at what we have is a serious shortage.